this is TechyjessDoodles coming at you with another quick tutorial for you guys. So today I thought I would go over doing the flash kind of like around the eye and how to create the effect of it actually being in the eye. Now I'm going to use this as a reference here. Obviously the picture is very overexposed, so let's see if I can actually get this image to be a little bit brighter vibrance. A little bit. Okay, we'll leave it there for now. It just gives me an idea a little bit more around the eye. But I kind of have an understanding of how to make that anyway, and this is more so of a doodle. It's not an exact reference of how to create flash around the eye. So first of all, I'm going to pick a really light color here because my skin tone is very light. You don't really necessarily want to go as white as possible first because you can always lighten it or make it darker. Really, it doesn't matter how you do it. This is just how I do it personally. I find it easier. Okay, so let's make another layer and call it flesh. And okay, so make sure that your flesh is underneath your lining, your iris there, because if you go over it now, see, it's gonna go right under, so there's color underneath here, but it doesn't matter because you can't see it. All right, so let's erase that and get into it here. All right, so usually I just load the color around the outside as much as I possibly can. Again, there's no mistakes here. I'm just gonna do a quick around the eye tutorial. It's not necessarily gonna be past the nose and whatnot, just around the eye for today. Alright, so you just go around the whole entire eye, fill in the color to the best of your ability, and then again, like I always say before, when you lay down some color, it's not as intimidating as a blank canvas, because a white canvas can be very intimidating, especially when you don't know what you want to draw, or how to draw. It's even more intimidating. Okay, so there you got the skin color around the eye there. Now what you guys need to know here is the eyeball is actually inset into, here I'll show you over here, inset into the socket. The eyeball isn't flat. A lot of people draw, when they draw eyes, they just draw it flat on the face. It is actually inset, so we got to make it look like it's inset rather than just, you know, flat smack dab on the face. So usually I take a darker skin tone like this color here, and I start laying in little areas, like in the crease here. The nose would obviously be here, so you'd have like a dark shadow coming in there. Ooh, that was really squeaky, I'm sorry. You'd have some coloring coming up in here. And me personally, I have some here as well, going up like that. And then you also want to add some on the lower bit. And actually, you don't want to add too much on the lower bit, just because if you think about it, this part of the eyelid actually comes, or eyelid, this part of the skin around your eye actually comes forward, and light would actually hit it. Sorry about that, guys. My voice is weird today. But anyway, so you fill in the color there, and then you got a good base to start. So usually what I do is I get the paint mixing tool, and I start spreading the color around and smoothing it into. Don't worry about the outside right now. We're just going to worry around here. Into the other color below it, and then try to get a smooth gradient. Usually I do it with this color, the color of the dark selected first, and then I go over it afterwards with the actual color that's underneath it to smooth it out even further. So I'll show you guys that in a second. Okay. So now we're going to take the eyedrop tool and select the color you have around there, and then get the mixer brush again and go over everything again. And it just gives you a nice smooth overlay over top, a lot smoother than what it is with the dark. Okay, now that we got that completed, just right off the bat, you can already see that the eye is starting to develop itself. You can see that it's not so flat anymore. You can actually see that it has depth. So then I start adding colors that are a little bit darker. I use purples a lot. You can use blues, you can use greens, you can really use whatever you want, but I'm very fond of purples, and I don't know why. I get this question a lot, actually. I've always used purples as my shading. We are actually told not to use blacks, so purple is the closest thing in terms of value to black. So then you put some black or some purple around the eyelash area there, and I have a little bit of a divot coming in there, and as well as down here. Just push that in a little bit gently there. So then you get your mixer brush again, and you go over the color. Now again, you want to do the purple first, have the purple selected first, because you want to have that dark color showing up in there. If you don't do that, you're gonna get a really washed out purple. And see, already here it's kind of washed out, but that's okay because we're gonna go over it with the other color afterwards and smooth it out. But in some areas, if you want the color to be very vibrant, try not to mix it too much, or else it will just totally disappear completely. Okay. And obviously when you're drawing a female's eye, it's a lot more fun than drawing a guy's eye because you can play with the eyelashes, you can play with makeup. Like, I can make myself look like I'm wearing makeup with this eye, and it would actually help a lot with depth. Expand the purple up there a little bit. Okay, so now you select, I usually select the darker color, so I move that over there, and you start working into the purple, the normal skin color, because obviously your skin isn't completely purple. You just kind of want a little touch of it coming underneath there. Wash that out a little bit there and into the back. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the darks in this. Obviously, if I wanted to, I could always go back in with a darker color. I could take a darker skin tone and go in with the brown. Here, I'll even show you guys really quick. See, it's kind of like an auburn, kind of like a red color coming in there, just to give more of a feeling of skin tone rather than just the purple. And get in there. And the reason why I do this with the color, and I put the color on first, is because the paint mixing brush actually mixes the color much better when you put the paint down. It's kind of like a real paintbrush in a way. Just mix that in. Kind of makes it a little bit more of a gradient. Okay, so that's the shading. Next would be the highlight. So you can do this in a number of ways. It really depends on your skin tone. For me, I have a very, very, very pale skin tone. So I would probably pick a white or a very light version of this pink color that I have here. But others have really, really orange skin. Some people have really yellow skin. And I would suggest, if you have a yellow skin, going to yellow and taking a yellow. So see how this is different than the one below? It has a little bit of a yellow tint to it, rather than taking white completely, because not everybody's skin is going to be white. It's just the fact of the matter. I know we all think that we're unified that way to a certain degree, but we're really not. Skin is actually very difficult to do because everybody's looks different. So my eye actually here has a lot of white up here because, like I said in my other videos, my eye actually swoops up my eyelid. So I'm going to just have some white coming in here, and I'm going to swoosh that up further. I've got some white coming in here, and actually on the top in the middle here, I'm going to have a little bit of white coming in there, as well as on the bottom part here of my eye. It's going to swoosh under with a little bit of white there, as well as in here. I think I even have some coming down there. So now you do the same thing again, and you get the mixing brush and you smooth it all in. I just find it funny when you go to the actual art store and they have flesh tone there. You can actually buy a standard flesh tone. I'm like, how can this be classified as a flesh tone? There's so many different shades, so many different colors. And that's a big problem too with makeup even, is getting concealer, because everybody's skin is a different color. So really, doing skin is all about experimenting. You're trying to find the best combination for the person you're drawing, or even you, with the picture and whatnot. So as you guys can see, it's creating a little bit more depth. My eyes, again, are weird with my eyelid, and they go up funny. So hopefully that doesn't throw you off. But right away, you guys can already see that the skin is starting to develop. If you zoom out, you can see there, just circle around that area. It actually doesn't look too bad so far. That, I think, is as far as there's detailed I'm going to get with that for now. And then actually what you want to do is you want to start looking at the actual eye itself. Your pupil, or the white of your eye, isn't actually going to be the white of your eye. I know that we call it that, but it's not actually the color of what it's going to be. It is the local tone in this picture. It's very white. But what you actually want to achieve is the look of your eye actually being like 3D, being having mass, because right now it doesn't. It's just sitting there. It's just like plop. So what I usually do is I pick the color of shading. You can really pick any color for this. I usually use like a tealy blue color, and I do believe I have white already selected, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm going to do that anyway. You get your paintbrush tool and you color in here. I went over to my iris layer here. You color the white in, and then you pick your blue and you go in areas. So obviously up here it's going to be a little bit darker than down further. And you have it coming in here too, because your eyeball actually recedes that way. Around here a little bit. Going across. Now I'm just going to show you with the blue, but you actually can play with this and you can start adding different colors and whatnot in there as well. I also have here, I have a little bit of a pink. We all have a little bit of a pink thing here, you know, where you get that sand in your eye. So I'm going to go back to my color, get the eyedrop tool, get the blue, come back in with the paintbrushing, the mixer brush. As you guys can see, I use the mixer brush a lot. And see, you're going outside the lines there and whatnot, but that's okay because we can erase that after. Okay. And then what you can do is go in with your white again and come in and kind of just etch out some of the overly blue areas in your eye, because you don't want it to be all blue. And then you go ahead and you erase all the blue on the outside of the lining. Almost done, guys. All right, there you go. There's a simple eye, or the start of an eye, for speed painting. And to me, that looks a lot better than just the eye being flat. So anyways, guys, if you like this video, be sure to leave a comment down below giving me advice of what you guys actually want to see in the next video, so I know what to put up here for you guys, because these tutorials are for you, not for me. So hopefully I can help you guys with whatever you really want to learn how to do. And until next time, guys, toodles!